Hey, this is Anthony Cesare with SuccessForYourSongs.com, and what we're going to talk about in this video is going to make your lyrics twice as good because you're going to have a method for generating a lot more ideas than you would have been able to come up with off the top of your head. And you're going to be able to do it in half the time you normally write in because you're going to have the right tools to make you a much faster writer. So in his book, Writing Better Lyrics, Pat Pattison talks about the concept of worksheets. And worksheets are a way to expand your song's key ideas while tying those ideas into rhymes. Now in a minute, we're going to look at a tool that'll make this worksheet idea much easier. But first, we're going to look at an example of a worksheet so you can better understand what it is and how it works. And by the way, if this is the kind of information you're interested in, be sure to subscribe to this channel to stay updated on our latest songwriting videos and grab your free songwriting cheat sheets with the little I in the upper right-hand corner of the video or in the description below. Okay, so when you think about a worksheet, you first consider the overall idea for your song, the big idea. And then you're going to come up with a collection of words that are related to that big idea, and you can use a thesaurus to come up with those words if needed. And then you're going to take those words and find rhymes for them, and that'll be your worksheet. So this is just kind of a general outline of one. So you could put your overall song idea at the top, then you come up with your first related word all the way through. I'm showing 5 here. In Writing Better Lyrics, Pat Pattison recommends using between 10 and 12 words with different vowel sounds so that the rhymes that you get will be different from each other. But for this example, I'm just going to show you 5 so you can get the idea. And then based on each of those words, you're going to come up with rhymes for each of them. So this is going to give you a basis for ideas and lines as you're writing your entire song. So let's look at an example. I'm basing this off of a song of mine called That's Just How I'm Built. That's just how I'm built. So the overall idea for this song is moving ahead despite obstacles in your way. And so we have this title, That's Just How I'm Built. So I'm using that as one of the words related to my overall idea. And some other words that I chose for this worksheet, again, you can just, kind of brainstorm these from the top of your head or use a thesaurus to help you come up with them. But I have achieve, grit, move, and rock. And the reason I have rock in here, even though it seems like it's not related, is because that ended up being one of the images I used in this song. It was a rock kind of rolling down a hill and bouncing off of trees. So since I had that imagery, I put that in this worksheet as well. And then you can see I've just filled up this worksheet with rhymes related to each one of these words, and each one of these words has a different vowel sound. And then when you're choosing the vowel sounds, keep singability in mind. The vowels should be easy to sing. If your mouth is more open on the vowels, that will be easier to sing. So it's generally a good idea to have vowels like that. La, la, la. So a word like grit, that would be tougher to sing. That's kind of a closed mouth vowel. But move has that oo vowel, so that's an easier one to sing, so that's a little bit better. And with that idea in mind, sometimes, when you're coming up with a melody off the top of your head and just singing nonsense syllables, the idea comes out of you with a vowel sound in mind, even though you don't have a specific word. It's just kind of a nonsense word. But a lot of times it makes sense for you to keep that vowel sound because there's a reason you came up with that idea on that vowel sound. So if I had just come up with the melody for this song on an oo vowel sound, then I can think, okay, what's a word related to this idea that has that oo vowel sound? And then I can come up with move, and then from there I can come up with rhymes that rhyme with move. So I think you should honor that initial vowel sound that you came up with off the top of your head if you had a melody that had a specific vowel sound when you came up with it. It's usually a good idea because if you change that vowel sound completely, a lot of times it just changes the feel. And another thing worth mentioning when you're coming up with rhymes, it's usually a good idea to expand from perfect rhymes. So you can see here, like I have achieve and then I have leaped. So leaped and achieve are not perfect rhymes, but they have that same vowel sound. So I'm still putting those in the list. And the reason you open up to rhymes beyond perfect rhymes is, first of all, you want to increase the number of ways that you can say what you want to say in your song. You also want to make your lyrics less predictable and cliche, and a lot of times perfect rhymes end up being cliche. So if you expand beyond that, you can achieve getting away from cliches. And also, you want to be able to control how stable the feel is so that your lyrics tie into what your overall idea is about. So if you have an idea that feels complete, using a perfect rhyme could make sense. But if you have an idea that feels a little bit longing or maybe a little bit melancholy, getting further away from a perfect rhyme might make more sense. Achieved and preach. You can feel how it sounds different, even though the vowel sounds the same. Those consonants at the end make it sound different. So if I was looking for a rhyme that feels a bit looser because of my idea, if I wanted it to not feel so complete, that's something to keep in mind. So that's just a few reasons there to expand beyond perfect rhymes when you're coming up with this worksheet. And by the way, if you want to hear how this song turned out, that's just how I'm built. Got a link for that on the screen and in the description below as well, so you can check that out there. That's just how I'm built. Now, you might be thinking, how is this going to make me a faster writer? Isn't this more work than I usually do? Well, there's two things about that. One, it's going to feel like more work on your first worksheet or two as you have to get used to the idea, but after that, you're going to be flying. And two, once you get deeper into the details of writing your song, you're going to realize that the worksheet is actually making you move much more quickly than you would have otherwise, because all the details that you need to finish up are right at your fingertips the entire time you're writing. Now compare that to if you were just going off the top of your head for every line and every idea you needed to write. You'd be much more likely to get stuck and to take a long time and figure out each little idea, as opposed to using a worksheet where you figure out all of your main ideas right at the top and then utilize them when you need them while you're writing. And in order to make this really effective, you need the right tools to make this a fast process for you. And by the way, even if you're not into the idea of building these worksheets, in a minute I'm going to show you how you can use the same concept on a smaller scale when you're writing. But first, let's look at the tool that makes this whole process much easier. I actually used to do this worksheet concept by holding the rhyming dictionary open in one hand and then writing out rhymes with the other, but it's too clunky and it's too time consuming, especially when you're trying to turn the page of a physical rhyming dictionary in one hand, or even trying to scroll through and type in all your options on rhymezone.com or something like that. So let's look at a tool that makes this process easier. So a tool that I love for creating these worksheets is MasterWriter. The tool within MasterWriter that I think is great for this is that you can collect words. So if you remember in this example I had here on this worksheet that I was showing you, I had the words achieve, built, grit, move, and rock. So one thing you could do, like I said earlier, when you're trying to come up with words for this worksheet, you can use a thesaurus. So if I had the word built and I wanted other words like built, I can use MasterWriter's built-in thesaurus. So I click on synonyms over here, and then I would type in built, and then I get some other options here. Now, so far, this just looks like another online thesaurus is probably what you're thinking. But what's great about this version is now I could start to take these words and put them into a collection. So let's say I like the word construct and I want to add that to my worksheet. So I just double click on construct and you can see it faded out and got italicized. So that's how I know that I added that to my collections. And then let's just say I wanted to use the word fabricate too. So now those two are in my collections, or I can think of them as being on my worksheet. So when I come over here to where it says collected, I click on that, and you can see it added them up here to where it says synonyms. Now I already added those words that I had before on that sheet, so you see them in the sidebar here. Since this was a search related to built, it's showing those synonyms related to built up here. And now these are the rhymes that I searched for under the word built. And the way you're going to do that is you come over to rhymes, I type in the word built, and then I get a list of rhymes. Now I start over here by clicking on perfect rhymes to see what they have to offer for perfect, and then I could change the number of syllables. For this I use 1 or 2. I can fill the whole thing up, but for this song 1 or 2 syllables for each rhyme makes sense. So then the same thing, as I go through this list, any words that I think are related to this overall idea, because that's really the concept here, is finding rhymes related to your overall idea so that this worksheet makes sense, so that any of the rhymes you choose can make sense for your lyric. So I had picked the word guilt, spilt. All I have to do is double click on any of these words and it adds it to my collections. So that's just under rhymes. I go back to collected, and then under the word built, you could see the words that I added for my rhymes right here, and then I also have the synonyms here as well. For these synonyms, if I want to think of this as my worksheet, as I laid out here, for each one of these synonyms, I probably want to create rhymes for each one of those. So the word fabricate or construct aren't great examples because they wouldn't be easy to sing. But just for the purposes of this, let's say I click off of collected and then I type in fabricate up top and I do a search for that. So now I'll get a bunch of rhymes related to that. As I start to click words here, I usually start with perfect on, like I said, 1 or 2 syllables. I look at those and then I go to close, then I go to wide, and then I go to widest and see what applies. Again, the words that apply to my song and how close I think I'm going to want these rhymes to be to my original word based on, the reasons I might do that, as I mentioned earlier. So as I choose rhymes for this word that's related to my, other word, fabricates related to built, I'm just going to click on anything here just to show you. So now as I clicked on those words and I go back to collected, now the word fabricate's going to show up in the side here too, since I did a search for it, and now my rhymes for that word are going to show up in here. So this is essentially acting as a worksheet. As I click on each one of these, I'll see all of the words that are related rhymes to each one of these words, and each one of these words has different vowel sounds because that's the way I chose them from the beginning. And then each one of those vowel sounds has all these rhymes related to it. So this has become a really fast way to create this worksheet idea and give me tons of ideas as I'm going through and writing my song. So that's why I think when you tie this idea of the worksheet together with this collection tool in MasterWriter, it becomes a really fast and efficient way to write songs. And I have a link for MasterWriter below the video so you can learn more about it there. If you're not into building out these worksheets, you can use MasterWriter in a smaller scale way to help you write. If you already have a lyrical line or a thought for your song, you can collect rhymes just for that idea without needing the whole worksheet first. And that works really well if you're starting with a title idea as an example. So if you're not into this idea of building out worksheets, again, I think you should try it and just see how it works for you. But even sometimes you might just need a quicker version of this, even if you normally do build out worksheets. A faster way you can do it is if you do have a line, like I knew the title for this song was going to be That's Just How I'm Built. Now I can just come in here, come up to the top, type in the word built, look through all the options, and add anything that makes sense into my collection. So now I'm just doing this on a smaller scale. I'm just looking at it line by line. Okay, I know the title of the song is That's Just How I'm Built. Here are all my rhymes related to that. Now I just have this open in front of me while I'm trying to figure out rhymes to come up with that tie into my title so I can write my chorus or my refrain. Compare that to if you were using a physical rhyming dictionary or Rhyme Zone or something like that, where you always have every single rhyme in front of you. It just gets confusing. Maybe you're writing them down, but that's clunky and time consuming. And that's what's so great about this. It's so fast, just the way you can double click, or even if you want to remove them from your list, you just hit the little trash can and you're only left with those rhymes related to your idea. So you can really focus on getting the best options and write the best song that you can. So this is a great tool for that. So when you use this concept of worksheets together with MasterWriter as a tool for collecting rhymes and synonyms, you'll be able to write much more quickly and have a lot more ideas than you've ever had before. And you'll be able to do this for every song you write. So if you thought this information was helpful, subscribe to this channel and grab your free songwriting downloads with the links on the screen and below the video.